Hey everyone, today we're going to install the steamed haM-ifiER, also known as stammer. This is a tool created by ArdenButterfield on GitHub, and it's fun. It mixes up audio and video files and makes some glitchy fun results. But it's kind of a pain to install, so let's cover how to do that. So I'll be providing this little text readout. I'm doing this on Windows 10 Pro 22H2, specifically this build. I have some recommended tools. You can skip this if you don't care, but I recommend you run Windows Update, reboot, run Windows Update again until you have no more updates. Update your Windows. Do it. If you're using another antivirus tool, I would recommend against that. Windows security is pretty good these days, Windows Defender, but you may have to fight your antivirus. Most everything in here is signed and fine and dandy. I haven't had any trouble at all with Windows Defender, but yeah, your antivirus is your problem. I also use the Windows Terminal. This is available on the Microsoft Store. You don't have to use it. You can use regular PowerShell or command line. If you right-click the Start button, you can use either of these, PowerShell as admin. You shouldn't need admin. You can use it if you want. But PowerShell or command line is fine here. I'm going to be using Windows Terminal because I like it. Thirdly, I use 7-zip. It's free. Works better than Windows Explorer. My opinion. Seems to be faster. Do what you want. Notepad++, that's what I'm using here. I like it for editing scripts, for having multiple notepads open at once. It saves stuff if you reboot. It's kind of nice. VLC is great for viewing video. It works okay for viewing audio too. Audacity is awesome for editing audio. And LosslessCut is nice for just kind of cropping videos around, doing some basic editing. All these tools are free. Anyway, let's start. We're going to download and extract stammer. So I've put some links here direct, but I'm going to show you what it looks like if you're doing this manually, if you don't want to use these links. So from the stammer page, you can also just type in, ArdenButterfield stammer. And it's the first result. At least on Bing. What do you do? Here we have our code button, big green button. Click on that. We're going to download a zip of stammer. Neat. I'm going to open this. Cool. Inside is the stammer main folder. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put this on your computer somewhere. I'm going to put it right on the C drive. I already have it here for some testing, so I'll just delete it, put a fresh one in, just for you guys. Stammer-main, right on the C drive. Cool. Close out of this archive for now. Let's look at our list of things to do. So we've downloaded and we've extracted stammer. Now we're going to download Python. You can use that link. I'm going to find it the hard way because I know you guys like doing things the hard way. Python, Windows. Just Python Windows is fine. Let's see. Python releases for Windows. Yeah, that looks good. Another way you can just do it is right from the downloads. Python will detect that you're running Windows from your browser. You can just do it this way too. Doesn't matter. We're going to run this. So newer versions of Python have lots of cool stuff. I'm going to leave all the default options except for these two boxes. I'm going to check these. Okay? Add Python to the path and use admin privileges. And then choose install now. Cool. This can take a minute, especially if it's your first installation of Python. I can't guarantee that this tool will work with future versions of Python, but I've tested this with version 3.12.1 with no trouble. Pip is a tool we're going to be using to get the rest of the components, so it's nice to see that it's built into Python now. Okay. You can choose this if you want to. I'm going to choose it. You don't have to. But yeah, now that I'm done, I'm done. I don't need to install it twice. I'm going to close this. Yes. Okay. So I have Python installed. Let's test it out. I'm going to open up command line or PowerShell or the Windows terminal. You'll notice when command line or PowerShell or the Windows terminal with PowerShell opens, it'll have the blinking cursor, and then just to the left, it'll have a folder. This is your current folder context. Just like when you open a folder from File Explorer, and it shows you at the top where your location is. These are the files you're looking at in this folder. The same is true for the console. By default, it opens up to your user profile. You can always change that if you need. The tests we're doing for Python are system-wide, and so it doesn't matter what folder we're in. These should work. So let's look at our little guide here. We've downloaded Python. We've installed Python. We're going to test Python, that its environment variables that were used during the installer. You don't have to worry about this part manually. That was already done. We're going to test it out and make sure it worked. The installer was successful. So we're going to do Python space -- version. Look at that. We get a result, not an error message. That means Python's working. We're going to do the same with pip, which is the Python installer. Longer version, string, but still not an error. No errors here. Both of these worked. That's great. I'm going to close this for now. Okay, we're going to need to download and extract ffmpeg. What is ffmpeg? Well, if we just type it in here, ffmpeg is a command line, open source video and audio editor. Cool. Let's go to ffmpeg.org. Download. Hey, I use Windows. So we have two options. I go with the top one from gyan.dev. So we can scroll down a bit, and we've got some master builds, the latest master builds, and the full one. You could use the essentials. I haven't tried that. I use the full one. I like all the features. It's a little bit bigger, but not too big. This is a 7z file, very similar to a zip file. I'm going to open it. Inside, we have this long name. It is ffmpeg and some version info. Cool. I'm going to put this right in the Stammer folder. Neat. Now this is also a system-wide installation, but I'm only using it in the context of Stammer, so I put it in the Stammer folder. I'm going to go inside here, and there's also a bin folder. I'm going to go inside there, and now you can see ffmpeg-exe. You don't need to run any of these. The most important part is this path that leads to the binaries of ffmpeg. I'm going to select this whole path and copy it to my clipboard. Okay? Let's go back to our list. Now we need to add ffmpeg bin folder that I just copied to environment variables. Here's how we do that. We can open up our command prompt again, or PowerShell, or the Windows terminal, and we're going to issue this command, sysdm.cpl. Okay? This opens a window. Very nice. Now we go to the Advanced tab here, and Environment Variables. Environment Variables, this little button at the bottom. Now it says we can go to path. I'm going to include that we want to go to the system path. So system variables, here's the path variable. We can edit this, right? It says edit. Yeah, edit. All right. And we're going to click on new, and we're going to paste in that bin folder path. Then I'm going to hit OK, OK, OK. OK times 3. Cool. Now to test it, we can run ffmpeg. So because we changed things in the environment variables, I'm going to close out of the console, or the shell, or the Windows terminal, or PowerShell, or CMD, whatever you want to call it, and we'll test ffmpeg. Cool, we got a whole bunch of information. None of this is an error, and the biggest tell at the top, ffmpeg version. So it's able to respond with a version just like our Python and our pip tests did. Very neat. Now we're going to install what's called the ffmpeg-python wrapper. This lets Python reach out to ffmpeg and talk to it. So I'm going to copy this, paste it in here. Already satisfied. Okay, so it already knows that I've had this. I have done this before. Yours may download something, but when done, you'll get some version numbers out of it, right? I'll let you know that it's ready. Okay. Lastly, we're going to need to install some Stammer prerequisites, as it says right here. That means we're going to need to be inside the Stammer folder. There's a couple ways we can get there. The first way is we can go up a couple folders here. Boop, boop. You want to be right in the main stammer main folder. So we can copy this. We can go out to our PowerShell or terminal or command line, type in cd space, and then paste in this folder name. And you'll notice it'll go from C user's profile to C stammer main. That's what we want. A faster way of getting here, if you don't have this open, for example, if you have this folder open, navigate out here from File Explorer. If you hold Shift, you can right-click, and then you can open PowerShell or a terminal here. That's convenient. This is a console app. We're going to be in this console whenever we interact with Stammer. So that's a fast way to get in there if you want to. We need to run a command. Pip install -r requirements with spaces between each. This is also listed if you come over here to the, let's see, Stammer. Is that going to work? No. What's this guy's name? ArdenButterfield Stammer. Cool. Yeah, the author listed this right here as well if you need it. So we're going to come over here and we're going to run it. We're in the context of stammer main, and if you look in this folder, you'll see that there is requirements.txt. And we're going to tell pip to install all the stuff that's in this requirements file. All right, mine are already satisfied because I've already installed this to my version of Python. Yours may download and take some time to do. Once it's done, we are ready. So I'm here, we're in stammer main. I'm going to go and grab some files. Now, these can be video files, these can be audio files, or one of each. Doesn't really matter. Let's see. That'll do. Come out here and paste these in. So I have an MP4. Frogs in a toilet. I have another MP4. Beethoven by a clarinet. All right, sure. It doesn't matter what they are. These could be two MP3s, what have you. We're going to execute this. So I'm going to go Python. I'm going to tell Python to open up stammer.py. I'm going to provide it 1.mp4 as the carrier and 2.mp4 as the modulator. And then the output file should be named 3.mp4. This is separating the video frames of 1.mp4 here. Taking its time, splitting out some audio. I believe. Putting it all together, we have 3.mp4 now. So this is kind of synced up. Nice. Okay, another option we can do as well is if you just hit up on your command line, you can get access to the previous command. I'm going to make 2.mp4 the carrier, 1.mp4 the modulator, and have that output to 4.mp4 this time. A little bit faster because it's the carrier is going to be a bit shorter. And there we go. Now we have 4.mp4, and this has pretty much done the opposite, which is going to be less entertaining in this particular instance. But you can see you can mix all these together and get going, and it's not too bad. So hopefully this helped you get this installed and working. I'll provide this text as well. If you have any questions, just reach out, and enjoy making some crazy and fun new media, new content. Looking forward to it. Thanks.